You're listening to Answering the Call, the official podcast of the 12th Man Foundation. Our show provides listeners with an insider perspective of Texas A&M athletics and its greatest supporters. This podcast will bring you exclusive interviews with coaches, athletes, donors, and the dedicated staff of Aggie Athletics and the 12th Man Foundation. You ready? Let's dive into today's episode. Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of Answering the Call. This is your host, Ivy Robinson, and today I am joined by two guests, 12th Man Foundation President and CEO, Travis Dabney, and first-time guest, Porter Garner, who serves as President and CEO of the Association of Former Students. So, Porter, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Ivy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Porter, can you share with our listeners, just to begin, a little bit about your background, where you're from, why you chose to attend Texas A&M, and how you became president and CEO of the Association of Former Students?
Well, I'm going to give you the abbreviated version because this is a lot.
Are you sure? I think we have time for the long version.
Long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I was raised in Laredo, Texas, out in the country by a member of the class of 1945, who was my primary influence to coming to Texas A&M, not unlike Travis. We both had dads that were great Aggies, and I'd say my biggest influence on coming to A&M was sincerely my dad in a very poignant way. As a young man, and I don't know how old I was, Ivy, but as a young man, he took me to my first Aggie muster, and I remember rather well, even to this day, the moment when I said I want to be a part of something like this, and that was when they were going through the roll call, and I saw my dad tear up, and I saw the emotions flow from many of the older Aggies. And I'd never seen anything like that, and I didn't understand it, to be honest with you. But the more my dad taught me, and I learned about Aggie muster in particular, and saw what it meant to Aggies in my hometown, that was really what I wanted to be a part of, which is why I ultimately came to A&M.
Wow. Aggie muster is by far one of my favorite traditions here at Texas A&M. I actually served on Aggie muster committee when I was a junior, and hands down one of the best experiences. With both of you in studio today, I think it's a prime opportunity to define the unique roles of both the Association of Former Students and the 12th Man Foundation, and explain to our listeners and educate a little bit about the main differences between the two organizations, what each organization supports. So, Porter, can you start by just defining the mission of the Association of Former Students?
I have to start with June of 1879 when we were founded in Houston, Texas, Bachelor's Hall by 11 ex-cadets. We celebrated our 145th anniversary as an organization. And our mission hasn't changed a whole lot in those 145 years. It's been sophisticated, maybe with some terminology. We've added a tenet to our mission, which is to serve the student body. There's not many alumni associations around that have a tenet in their mission that says to serve the student body. But the fundamental premise of our mission goes back to June of 1879, because those 11 ex-cadets wanted an organization that would foster camaraderie. That's exactly what they wanted. And in doing that, they wanted to promote the interest and welfare of the college. And at the end of the day, they wanted to strengthen the association in doing that. And so our mission today, number one, is strengthen the Association of Former Students, because we've got to be strong to achieve the other tenets of the mission, to perpetuate ties of camaraderie formed during college or university days. We've got to be a strong organization to serve the best interest and welfare of Texas A&M. And we have to be very strong to serve the student body, now almost 80,000. So that is our mission. And embedded in all that are people that over 145 years have aligned with that mission and believed in it. And to this day want to achieve that mission, which is a noble mission, because the proof is in our history. Our legacy of support to Texas A&M in good times and in bad, to always be there for Texas A&M and Texas Aggies.
Travis, can you speak to how 12th Man Foundation's mission differs from the mission of the Association of Former Students, and maybe talk about how, when donors are giving to the 12th Man Foundation, how it's supporting different areas of the university?
Our mission statement is funding scholarships, programs, and facilities in support of championship athletics. So the 12th Man Foundation really exists, Ivy, to create a connection, a relationship between former students and just friends of Texas A&M University, specifically athletics. We raise money for a variety of causes, whether it is an unrestricted annual fund or facilities or scholarships. And so, yeah, I mean, I think if we just put it very succinctly, we exist here at Texas A&M to create that connection with Texas A&M athletics and to fund that operation to the fullest extent that we possibly can. And there are byproducts of that, Ivy. I mean, what happens is there are individuals that engage with the 12th Man Foundation and then therefore become engaged with the Association of Former Students and the Texas A&M Foundation. But of course, that runs both ways. There are individuals that engage oftentimes very early by joining the Association of Former Students, and then they end up becoming engaged at the 12th Man Foundation and the Texas A&M Foundation. And I think one of the most important things that we should acknowledge is collaboration between all three organizations is an absolute necessity to support Texas A&M to the max. And we should be committed to that every single day.
As leaders of Texas A&M affiliate organizations, for both of you, where do you think the passion to lead and serve originated?
Well, I would have to say for me, it was watching my dad, and particularly as a volunteer, watching him serve and support Texas A&M and giving financially, and always wanting to do whatever he could for Texas A&M, whatever it was, and that probably instilled in me a mindset of this is what it means to be a good Texas Aggie. And as Travis said, leading our organizations respectively on a daily basis, if you don't have that mentality and if you don't have that passion, you're in for a short run as a leader of these affiliate organizations, because I think people expect a lot of leadership in the affiliate organizations relative to how we represent them on this campus and how we represent Texas A&M. In many ways, we become the faces of our organizations.
Yeah, I think mine has evolved. I know that when I took the job at the 12th Man Foundation, I so badly wanted to help Texas A&M. This is just a really straightforward, honest answer. Win football games. And I knew that I wasn't going to help them doing that by coaching the football team, but I knew that I could have a part working at the 12th Man Foundation. But that's really evolved. And you guys were speaking about Aggie Muster earlier. As I have gotten older, more mature, I see Texas A&M so much differently than the 25-year-old that came to work at the 12th Man Foundation. It's not just a university. It's a family. It's a way of life. It is taking on the responsibility of training, welcoming leaders that are going to be influential in the state of Texas, in the United States, in the world. And the way we go about doing things at Texas A&M, biased, yeah, it's better. And I'm committed to that. And I want to see that continue. And this is where I would compliment the association. I think they do such an outstanding job of focusing on all the things that make Texas A&M great. And they have done that consistently over a long period of time. I don't think they get enough credit for it, but I'm telling you right now, I see it. And I know that work is every day and it's real. And so I appreciate that in such a significant way. And kind of the last thing about my engagement and leadership at the 12th Man Foundation and how it impacts Texas A&M. When you work with a bunch of Texas Aggies at the 12th Man Foundation or at Texas A&M University, or when you have some engagement with the Texas A&M Foundation and the Association of Former Students, engaging with, encouraging your fellow staffers to do the best for Texas A&M, it's such an easy thing to do. And I feel it right here. Point in my heart, I feel it every single day, and I want to do it every single day because I want the absolute best for Texas A&M.
Ivy, I'd have to say as a kind of an exclamation point to all of this discussion is we can sit here and talk about how great we are as Aggies, as Texas A&M, as athletic department, as the association, as the 12th man. But I think the testimony that I've seen in my career, particularly over the last 20, 25 years as CEO of the association, is when other universities, other athletic fundraising operations, other alumni associations, other advancement organizations call or come to Texas A&M and want to visit about all matters, whether it's fundraising, whether it's operations, whether it's personnel matters, whether it's recruiting donors, board members, engaging with the university, engaging with our alumni. It is clear, and I could rattle off a list of people that have come to see us, as well as people that have engaged me to go visit with them, wanting to know about how does it work at Texas A&M? Why is Texas A&M so special? And they may not be talking about wins or losses. They may not be talking about a particular academic enterprise. What they're talking about is a reputation that the Aggie Network has built for this university. And that includes former students, faculty, staff, everybody that loves and works on behalf of Texas A&M. And it is unique, I promise you. I've been to enough campuses. I've had enough people come to Texas A&M and tell us how unique we are in our model, in our operations, and the fact that we represent such a consistency for a large public institution. And that's true for us, the 12th Man, the foundation, all the affiliates that are independent, that can engage those former students in many, many ways, on our boards, in our councils, as donors, on committees, et cetera. And they feel a part of the university to the extent that they feel vested in it, whether it's giving or not, because they're giving their time, they're giving their talent, they're giving their input, they're giving their heart in many ways. And that doesn't happen at most big universities, I can promise you, particularly big public universities across the country. So I know we're unique in many ways, but I think the independent affiliate role that both the 12th Man and the association play is not only critical, it is really one of the secrets to the success of the university.
I want to ask both of you, what do you think makes a fundraising organization highly effective and successful?
Anyone who is in a fundraising role and is successful at it has to have a sacred trust with their donors. And I think for all of our existence, I think our donors have felt a confidence in the association, and we take that sacred trust very seriously and understand that these people could give their money a lot of different places. And we have lots of donors. We have lots of generous donors. And we simply try to be as efficient and as effective as we can with those donor dollars to do what is in the best interest of the association, Texas A&M, and Texas Aggies.
I think Porter said it really well. I think one thing I would add to that, and I've told many people this over the years, in college athletics these days, Ivy, you will see various schools go out and announce big, ambitious capital campaigns. And being the fundraiser that I am, I'm interested. I follow. And I kind of see how are things progressing for these various institutions. What are the results? And far too often these days what I see is they announce and then you just don't hear a whole lot about it thereafter. It kind of goes quiet. And so it is one of the things that is a point of immense pride for me at the 12th Man Foundation. And this goes back to the sacred trust that Porter's talking about. When we say we're going to do something, we do it, period. And there is a tremendous value for donors when they know, the association, the A&M Foundation, the 12th Man Foundation say they're going to do something. I believe in that, and therefore I'm going to write that check.
Indeed.
But if you were at some of these other places and we announce big, ambitious campaigns and then nothing ever transpires, why would I write a check for that? So the 12th Man Foundation, obviously, funding is a major priority for us. But the relationship with our donors, living up to what we say we are going to do, is really, really important. We are the representatives. We represent donors to Texas A&M athletics. It's an important role that we take very seriously at the 12th Man Foundation. And I know all the affiliates here put a real significant investment in that because we wear the Aggie ring. Mm-hmm. We know how important this place is to us individually. Well, we know how important it is to Aggies out there. And we're going to live that every day.
If you were explaining to, let's say, a former student or donor who wants to get involved in some capacity, but they don't know where to begin, when considering all of the different ways to support affiliate organizations that they could give towards, what would you say to that individual?
Well, I've had that conversation many times in my career. We're much different today than we were, say, 25 years ago, Ivy, in many ways, because we didn't have the internet. And a lot of times I would hear, Porter, I didn't know who else to call, so I just called you. And they wanted football tickets. And I'd say, well, it's pretty easy. You call the 12th Man Foundation, you talk to my friend Travis, he'll fix you up. That's simplifying it a bit, I understand. But I think the association has brokered a lot of support for this institution in many ways, mainly on a capital level, where we didn't have an interest or a project, but we knew there was something important at A&M that needed fundraising for. And it's just simply being able to tell a donor, this is a priority for Texas A&M, and you should call so-and-so, or you need to get involved with so-and-so. And, we engage students the minute they get on campus as 18-year-olds, their freshman year. And a lot of it is through the Aggie Ring program, admittedly, but through a lot of our involvement on the campus with the student organizations and fraternities and sororities and the Corps cadets. They get to know the association. We have a pretty strong brand in that regard. So they graduate, and we spoke to them at commencement, and they remember that, maybe. But they want to give, and they give us a little. But then at some point, they say, I'd like to come back on Saturdays in the fall and sit on the 40-yard line. I said, well, you need to call my friend Travis Dabney. But a lot of them grow up and never have given to Texas A&M. And I've had these calls, and out of the blue, they're 45 years old. Their kids are coming to A&M, and they say, we need to get more involved in A&M. We need to give back at some point, even though they've never given at that point. And so we just have an honest conversation about their interests. And sometimes it's athletics. Sometimes they may have been in the Corps. It may be to their college or a particular unit or department. Or it may be a ring scholarship or endowed century club or what might. But we're happy to play that role. And it's one of the more critical roles we play, to be able to funnel donor interest to the right place and the right people to make sure it's a win-win.
I would just add to that, on countless occasions, and I believe it's happening more and more frequently now, let's not be territorial about the relationships at any individual affiliate organization, at the association, the A&M Foundation, the 12th Man Foundation, and say, that this is our donor. No, that's not the way we need to do business. The way we need to do business is we need to create that relationship to the benefit of Texas A&M University, and we need to encourage those donors to support the things that matter to them on this campus, whatever that may be. Right. And just to know, and Porter can tell us this, with all of the former students of Texas A&M University, we are in a unique and really strong position to continue to build this institution to the absolute best that it can be. How many former students?
We got about 580,000 living former students as we sit here today.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. More coming every day.
Can you each share your thoughts just on the future of Texas A&M, where we're headed, and how you think this institution will continue to advance over the next 10 to 20 years?
I think it's easy for me, Ivy, in terms of what I said earlier, and that is the people. And A&M, for all of my life, has attracted great people. They've attracted people that want to serve, that want the best for Texas A&M. So whether that's governance at the highest levels or whether that's people pushing a broom, most people who work here invest themselves wholly into their job, into their department, into their organization. I know that's the case at the association, and it's a difference maker.
Yeah, I think about the quality of students that have been here in the past and the quality of students that are here now and the ones that will come in to the future. You think about higher education, Texas A&M is bucking the trend. We're getting bigger, and there's more people that want to come.
That's right.
And so when we have the core values that we do at this institution, and there's more people that want to come every single day, how could you think that this thing could be anything but a just huge, bright star? And there are countless leaders that have already come through this institution, and there are countless leaders that are being trained right now, and countless leaders that are going to be trained in the future.
And Travis, in my muster speech, There's a few lines I use every year, and one of them is talking about what Aggies feel and why they feel it. And one of the lines talks about being different because we stand in the cool darkness in front of the academic building for silver taps, but also sawing varsity's horn in stifling heat in Kyle Field. And both of those are very true and very tangible to Aggies. And it just makes me think that many times I hear from parents and students alike that while they wanted to be an engineer, or they might want to be a doctor, or they might want to be a scientist, whatever it may be, before any of that, they wanted to be an Aggie. They want to wear this ring. They want to be a part of the Aggie network. They want to be inspired by Aggies that they've met, and they want to be able to be a part of that and hopefully someday inspire others. So, again, I know Bob Gates said it quite well, but we're a unique American institution.
To wrap up today, what are your final thoughts? What would you like to leave with our listeners on how critical it is for donors and former students to stay engaged with this university through philanthropic giving?
I wish I had a platform beyond this podcast to shout this. I see that all that's been accomplished at Texas A&M, I've had 44 years to watch it with a front row seat. But even as I study our history and I see the difference that former students have made for this university on every level, athletics, academics, traditions, you name it, the Corps of Cadets. But when I think about only about 11% of our former students give back on the whole every year, I can't help but wonder, with all that Texas A&M is today, can you imagine how we could maximize this institution and what we could do for Texas Aggies if every Aggie felt compelled to give back a little bit every year to the annual fund?
I think philanthropic giving, Ivy, it's a learned trait. It's a learned exercise. And I do strongly believe this as I've gotten a little bit older and become more philanthropic with various entities, whether it's A&M United Methodist Church, the 12th Man Foundation, Texas A&M, the Association, the A&M Foundation. What you do start to figure out is when you financially support institutions like here at Texas A&M, the affiliates or others, it feels really good. When you know that you're making a difference, that's a feel-good situation. So I would encourage anybody that's listening to this or considering making philanthropic gifts to their local church or to the Salvation Army, whatever it may be, it's a good thing. And you're never going to regret supporting a philanthropic mission that is a really good one. You're never going to regret that. I encourage anybody to give that a try. I think they'll see what I'm talking about.
Travis Dabney and Porter Garner on Answering the Call podcast. Thank you both for your time today.
Thank you, Ivy. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Ivy.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Answering the Call, the official podcast of the 12th Man Foundation. A special shout out to our incredible podcast producer, Megan Hoffman, and to 12th Man Productions for their generous use of this studio. We also extend our heartfelt gratitude to every donor and season ticket holder for always answering the call through loyal support of Texas A&M athletics and our student athletes. We will be back soon with more content. Thanks, and gig 'em.